When we discuss the reasons for using a bat, we think about the pros and cons. So one of the pros, one of the things you have going for it is once you're finished throwing your piece, you don't have to remove it you don't have to separate it. You can simply lift the bat up off of the wheel head. There's little holes where the bat pins lock in. And you can let it set up for a day and put it back on the wheel. You don't have to recenter it, and you can do alterations or trimmings. You can trim as low as near the floor. You just can't get to the floor. When you're finished with altering or trimming the piece, you can then separate it with a cutoff wire. The piece will now be separate from the bat, and then you would turn it upside down, lock it onto the wheel head with soft clay, and proceed to trim it. I've had students throw flatware, which is wide and short plates, and those are very hard to slice off the wheel head and remove them, so throwing on a bat would be a good option for that. I've had students throw pieces that are 10, 11, 12 pounds, and so they grab a large bat, and when they're done throwing, they can lift that piece off with the bat without ever touching the piece. I had a student today who just started centering a 4-pound piece, and he got it perfectly centered, and then it was cleanup time. So he very wisely took the bat. Fortunately, he was throwing on a bat. He wrapped the piece in plastic, and next class he's gonna put the bat with the piece back on the wheel, still plastic, and he's gonna finish centering the piece and then throwing whatever it is he was gonna throw. So those are some pros of using a bat. Some cons is you have something separating your hands and the clay from the direct wheel head. So there's a go-between, and sometimes the bats will wiggle, sometimes they'll wobble because they're a little bit loose or the bolts are becoming loose. It can be a hassle to put the bat pins in, take the bat pins out. That's a little time consuming. So there are some pros and cons, but everybody needs to experience throwing on a bat and get used to it. And everybody needs to experience putting the bat pins in and taking them out safely so that you have more options as a potter and so that you're more informed and can make better choices about what your preferences are. Putting bat pins in and taking them out. The bolt and the wing nut go together. You will not be able to see underneath, but you'll start by putting the bolt through the hole in the wheel head. And you have to feel it through. It takes a while to thread it. Sometimes they're crusty with clay, so they just need to be washed off, but you'll eventually learn to see with your fingers what you can't see with your eyes. So I'm now twisting the wing nut and I'm tightening this bolt, and at some point it's tight, but it could still spin and become loose when the bat is on and the wheel is spinning. So we use the L wrench. And all these things are found, bat pins, bolts, in a little orange dish under the potter's sink and potter's cleaning sponges. And you should wash these. If you remove them after you use them, you should wash them before you put them back. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm twisting up top and I'm counter twisting in a different direction underneath with the wing nut, okay? And again, you don't want your wheel to be turned on when you're doing this, because if you accidentally step on the pedal and your hands are under here, you could really mangle yourself. If you come to a wheel head that has bat pins in it, then your choices are to either throw with a bat, and if you opt out of throwing with a bat, then you need to learn how to remove the bat pins, which is the opposite of what I've just shown you. Make sure the wheel is turned off, and it's more easily done when the splash pans are not in the way. I have 3 standard kinds of bats. One is a wooden bat, one is a plastic bat. You can see the difference is non-porous, that is, it's made of plastic. The wooden one is porous, obviously. The one that is wooden simply has 2 holes. It doesn't matter what side you use it on. You simply lock the bat pins into the holes. And they're snug. Sometimes the wooden bats get a little warped, so you have to wrestle it in. But there it is. It comes off the same way. The plastic ones have hole sets that are of varying degrees from the center. You can see the hole set here is a little bit closer to the center than the hole set here. So we use the hole set that is a little more distant from the center when you're using the plastic bat. And this is difficult. Again, you have to see with your fingers. It's very important that the bat pins get put inside of the hole, not inside one of the little triangles. So you're going to have to not only see with your fingers to get that fastened in the right way. This one's a little bit more of a struggle because you're going blind, but then you'll actually want to look at the bat and the wheel head. Is the bat head in the wheel head, or does it look like more of the wheel head is exposed on one side than the other? If so, then the bat is not put on correctly. We also have larger bats that are plastic, operate the same way as the last one I showed you, and this is for really large ware, like especially flatware, like dishes.